Hello, my name is Sharon, and I'm reading from the Martha's Vineyard Gazette on Tuesday, July 22nd. First story, Martha's Vineyard considers plans for new Ocean View Hotel. Article by Louisa Hofstetter. The Martha's Vineyard Commission opened a public hearing last Thursday on a proposed 26-room hotel at 16 Chapman Avenue in Oak Bluffs, where the former Ocean View restaurant burned to the ground in 2022. In a packed meeting room with more than 50 additional people online, property owner Charles Haja and his attorney Cass Luskin laid out detailed plans for a 3-story seasonal hotel accommodating up to 72 guests from April through November, with 3 employee housing units in the basement. One of the employee apartments would be occupied year-round by the hotel manager, Mr. Luskin said, and the other 2 would be used in the off-season by visiting trade workers with jobs at Mr. Haja's various island properties, which include the Christopher, Richard, and Sydney hotels in Edgartown and the Edgartown Inn. The 18,543-square-foot hotel would have an outdoor pool, a fire pit, 16 parking spaces, and a staff of 12 to 18 people, according to the application. Meals would also be available only to hotel guests. The Ocean View proposal has spurred resistance among neighbors in the Washington Park area of East Chop, where protest signs have been sprouting on lawns. This development would radically change the whole area from a quaint Victorian-style community into a bustling commercial area, Chapman Avenue residents William and Veronica Litley wrote earlier this month in one of the more than 24 letters the Commission has received opposing the application. While a handful of the project's foes wrote they would support the return of the Ocean View as a local restaurant, all of them said the proposed hotel is too large for the area. It is massive and out of place in a neighborhood of single-family homes, abutters Deborah and Jim Righty wrote. Mr. Luskin argued Thursday that the hotel would have a smaller footprint on the ground than the former restaurant and fewer rooms than the original Ocean View house, a 3-story hotel built on the site in the 1890s and later named Ocean View Hotel before it burned down in the 1960s. As designed by architect Peter Gerhardt, the new hotel is meant to evoke its Victorian namesake with a mansard roof, wraparound porch, and other architectural details, Mr. Luskin said. While Mr. Haja's property is commercially zoned, the surrounding area is a residential zone of older Oak Bluffs cottages and small parks that are part of the town's Copeland Plan District, where building projects receive additional scrutiny for potential impacts on their historic surroundings. The disparity goes back to 1948, when Oak Bluffs first enacted zoning bylaws by town vote, Mr. Luskin said. This was voted as a commercial district in the original zoning, and I think because it had been commercially used for 60 years, he said. The property zoning was challenged in 1973, Mr. Luskin said, but the Oak Bluff Zoning Board of Appeals rejected the argument. 60-unit affordable housing project breaks ground in Oak Bluffs. Article by Addison Antonoff. Developers and public officials gathered in Oak Bluffs Thursday to celebrate the groundbreaking of Tackanash Knoll, a 60-unit affordable housing development along Edgartown Vineyard Haven Road. Formerly known as Southern Tier, the project is targeted for people making between 30 and 110% of the area median income and is being developed by the town of Oak Bluffs, Affirmative Investments and Island Housing Trust. Altogether, the project could provide housing for more than 150 island residents, said Felipe Jordi, the CEO of the Island Housing Trust. About 40 people gathered for the ceremony at the Martha's Vineyard Ice Rink, which is next door to the 7.8-acre parcel where Tackanash is expected to be completed and ready for people to move in by 2027. Mr. Jordi told the assembled crowd that the project is coming at a time when the island's housing crisis is more apparent than ever, with only 38% of the vineyard's housing stock used year-round. We're seeing the effects of the housing crisis more clearly than ever, he said. Essential employees are being forced to commute from off-island because they can't find a place to live here. After its initial approval at the Martha's Vineyard Commission and the Oak Bluff Zoning Board, the 40B housing project was renamed after a member of the Wampanoag tribe to honor the history of the land. State Housing Secretary Edward Augustus was in attendance Thursday and spoke on behalf of Governor Maura Healey and Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll. He commended island officials for their work in a place where the housing crisis is exasperated. Every corner of Massachusetts is facing a housing crisis. Quite honestly, every part of the United States is facing a housing crisis, he said. It's not unique to Massachusetts, but I think there are a few places, like the Vineyard and Nantucket, that are facing it in the extreme. I appreciate the kind of example that you set." End quote. The development includes the construction of 12 residential buildings and a community building. 6 buildings will have 3 rental units each, 5 will have 6 units each, and 1 will have 12 units. There will be the 12 one-bedroom apartments, 42 two-bedroom apartments, and 6 three-bedroom apartments. Mark Leonard, a member of the Oak Bluff Select Board who previously served on the Affordable Housing Committee, said he was happy to see the project, which has been in the works for 8 years, reach this milestone. "We're very excited to reach the groundbreaking milestone today. It's taken us a long time to get here," he said. "Tackanash Knoll presents opportunities to our families, our friends, and our neighbors. We believe that vibrant communities are built through careful planning, respect for the environment, and fostering of social cohesion." End quote. Aquinnah Festival showcases growing interest in Native art. Article by Gwen Skiles. Tiffany Vanderhoop stood proudly behind a table lined with beaded jewelry Saturday as patrons browsed brightly colored patterned earrings and her signature brass charms lining the bottom. Miss Vanderhoop was one of roughly 30 artisans taking part in the Native Artisans Festival at the Aquinnah Circle, hosted annually by the Aquinnah Cultural Center. She is a member of the Wampanoag tribe of Gayhead, Aquinnah, and said the festival is growing and working to share the value of indigenous art with the island community. More people are starting to attend and notice, and I think it's really important for Native people to be taking up spaces like this, attended by everybody and valued, she said. Miss Vanderhoop said her beadwork bridges a connection with her ancestors, and the festival helps her teach others about her history. Miss Vanderhoop is also part Haiti and indigenous peoples of the Pacific Northwest coast, and her geometric designs are inspired by textiles from both the Northeast and Northwest. She counts each bead in her traditional Haida language, Hatkil, Xaatkil, which she said further immerses herself in the culture. While many non-Native people view indigenous culture as a relic of the past, she emphasizes that Native art continues to grow and thrive in the present day. Native art is contemporary, diverse, innovative, and it's always evolving and changing with our current times, she said. Ridge Spears of the Narragansett Tribal Nation sold leather pouches with fringe and buckles made from deer bones, beside jewelry made from carved cedar, seashells, and walnuts. "It all comes from the earth," Mr. Spears said. "We go and gather, find the walnut pieces, and crack them, looking for designs. It's fun." End quote. He said foraging has been ingrained in him from a young age. He would gather mushrooms, grapes, and blueberries for food, and the woods are still his favorite place to be. Mr. Spears enjoys sharing his passion with others at events like the festival. "I always love when somebody sees something completely new," he said. "Nobody else has an antler necklace. It brings out so much different art and just puts ideas more out there." Beside him, Ray Monroe, also of the Narragansett Tribal Nation, sold T-shirts with the logo of Native women wearing a feather headdress. Text surrounds the image saying, quote, "Chief Woman of the Land," end quote. "I think anyone can be a chief woman of the land," Miss Monroe said. "This is not exclusive to just Native women or Native people. If you protect women, children, elders, the land, you're a chief woman." Throughout the day, the Wampanoag Nation singers and dancers danced through the aisles, singing traditional songs and beating a drum. Mariah Thornton, a member of the Wampanoag Tribal of Gayhead, Aquinnah, smiled behind a table lined with hand-stitched leather goods such as handbags and key holders, some delicately painted with horses, orca whales, and bird footprints. She quickly sold out of jewelry holders designed to look like lily pads, the flowers painted in a shimmery pink. Miss Thornton rides horses and started making leather goods when she had to repair her equipment. She said she sources the leather from all kinds of discarded hides, including alligator, which is sourced. Most people are going, "Oh, I want a vegan leather," but it's actually plastic-based, Miss Thornton said. Most of this leather I'm using, a lot of it actually would have been waste from the meat industry. Kristen Thomas Jones and her husband Bobby Thunderhawk Jones of the Narragansett tribal nation sat behind jars filled of dried herbs and braided sweetgrass. They sold bags of Nukon herbal tea, which they said helps to relax the body before bedtime, and Motapan herbal tea, a refreshing replacement for coffee. I believe in using these herbs to lead you to more of a healthier lifestyle, Ms. Thomas Jones said. Wampum was aplenty at the festival, the ripples of purple shimmering in bracelets and dream catchers. Tracy Lee Adams, whose work is found all over the island, said she enjoys seeing all the different ways native artisans shape the shells. Everybody has their own style, Miss Adams said. A lot of people flatten down the surfaces. I leave the surface just how it is. You can feel the actual curve of the shell. She crafts bracelets and necklaces, often carving the deep purple into the shape of whale tails. With a laugh, she warned not to look too closely at her hands that are roughened by years of work. Your hands are always dry and splitty because they're always wet, she said. They're always a mess, but they make beautiful jewelry. Miss Adams said the festival feels like a family reunion when cousins from off-island return to celebrate art, culture, and connection. The art of making wampum, too, is rooted in family. That's what my ancestors were doing here in Aquina, she said. I feel special that I can continue that tradition even if I'm using new tools, end quote. Having faith in community at Holy Ghost Parade, my favorite part was listening to the music, she said. Following the girls was the Up Island Band playing celebrity tunes and Portuguese American Club members and staff dancing down the streets. Board member Emily Freeman Miller walked by a big smile on her face while handing out Portuguese and American flags to spectators. I just love having the band dance behind us and giving out flags and seeing everybody and telling people what we're doing, she said. Lynn Vera was marching for her 5th year in a row after growing up taking part in the festivities. When I was a little kid, which was probably 65 years ago, I remember the Portuguese feast. I don't remember the parade, but I remember the food and the games, she said. Ms. Vera reflected on experience as she returned to the celebration now as an adult. It sort of brings my life full circle. It's where I grew up as a child celebrating the feast. And so, as a 70-something-year-old, it's pretty fun to see the youth and all the old folks and the food, the music, the marching, and the games, she said. The parade headed up Circuit Avenue and then made its way toward the Sacred Heart Cemetery, where board members laid wreaths and flags on graves and the statue of Jesus. Afterwards, everyone headed to the Portuguese American Club, where the party had started a day earlier for the Feast of the Holy Ghost and continued Sunday afternoon. Trisha Bergeron, former PA Club president and Portuguese Woman of the Year, said the parade and the feast are a huge group effort. It's really about the community. So many of us pitch in to make this possible, she said. Ms. Freeman Miller emphasized that the core of celebration was about community and gratitude. It shows our Portuguese heritage to the island, and it's the culmination of the summer, she said. Everything happens. We digged the big party last night, and so this is kind of like the icing on the cake. Turtle research stems from lifelong passion. Article by Bridget Scully. As the former head of the Martha's Vineyard Tick-Borne Illness Reduction Initiative, Richard Johnson spent years tracking, studying, and worry about ticks and tick-borne illnesses. Now he's focused on turtles. I was the tick guy for many years, and I did that because I felt like it needed to be done, he said during a recent talk at the Catherine Cornell Theater. It was an important public issue, but it was never a passion, whereas turtles are something different. I love seeing the turtles. I love the fact that we're doing something for them. Recently, Mr. Johnson created the MV Turtles Project to assess the status of native turtles on the island and gain a better understanding of the threats they face. The project is sponsored by the Biodiversity Works, a wildlife research organization led by Luann Johnson and Liz Olson. During his talk, Mr. Johnson educated the audience on the local turtle population, which includes 3 native species and 1 invasive species. The 3 native species of pond turtles are the eastern painted turtle, the spotted turtle, and the common snapping turtle. Mr. Johnson's project is mainly focused on the eastern painted turtle and the threats that its population is facing. He said the three biggest killers are predation, roadkill, and habitat loss. He mentioned that skunks, raccoons, and even bullfrogs all seek out turtle nests to eat the eggs, but humans lead the way in destruction. The big problem is that we built roads, which a lot of times a turtle is in a pond here and wants to nest across the road to its traditional nesting area, but now there's a road, he said. It's a real issue on the land. In the future, Mr. Johnson hopes to install small tunnels beneath the roads where turtles congregate. In the meantime, he has been posting turtle crossing warning signs near ponds so drivers will be on the lookout. Another threat to the painted turtle population is the invasive red-eared slider turtles, which Mr. Johnson said they were likely introduced by a human who had one as a pet. I think they're great turtles. I'd love to have one, but we're watching them very closely because they could be a real problem, he said. The red-eared sliders grow up to 10 to 12 inches and take up space on rocks or logs in the ponds, where the smaller painted turtles usually bask in the sun. Turtles need time in the sun to regulate their body temperature, so without the space to do that, they are at risk. With the help of Oscar Thompson, another turtle expert involved with biodiversity works, Mr. Johnson is focusing on juvenile painted turtles ages 0 to 4, which he feels will give him the best estimate of the size of the population here. However, juvenile painted turtles are often the most difficult to trap because they are hard to find, usually hidden in the ponds instead of lying out on the rocks in the sun. Despite the difficulties, Mr. Johnson will not be deterred. After all, it's a passion the biologist has wanted to pursue since he was a little boy. I used to make my mother go over to the frog pond. There were turtles there, and we would go and throw a piece of bread and wait until a turtle came up and scooped them up, he told the audience. He emphasized the importance of support from the community in gathering data. He asked that anyone who sees a turtle, dead or alive, should email him a picture at mvturtles@gmail.com so that he can identify the species and location. The Steamship Authority's new freight ferry undergoes repairs. Article by Ethan Genter. The Steamship Authority had to cancel several trips aboard its newest ferry this week after a hydraulic leak was found on the vessel. On Thursday, the ferry line discovered the leak in the steering pump and filter of the MV Aquina, canceling 4 trips on the Vineyard route. This is the second time the freight ferry has been pulled out of service for mechanical issues since it was put into service last month. On Friday, the Steamship Authority called in the Sankaty Ferry, a smaller freight vessel, to cover the Aquina trips, but warned that some traveler trips could be changed due to the lower capacity. Steamship spokesperson Sean Driscoll said the issue was being addressed on Friday. The Aquina is one of the 3 freight ferries that the Steamship Authority purchased to update the aging fleet. The ferry, which started plying the waters between Woods Hole and the island in June, previously served as an offshore oil vessel before being converted into the open-backed freight ferry. The Aquina's first mechanical issue after joining the fleet came on its second day on the job. Workers discovered a blockage in the ferry's sanitation pipes on June 22nd. Please adopt us. The Animal Shelter and the Agricultural Society invite you and your pets from farm and home to join us for the celebration of pets on Thursday, July 24th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Agricultural Hall in West Tisbury. In Ring B from 1:15 until 2:45 p.m., your dog can earn its AKC Good Citizenship Award, and from 1 to 2:45 p.m., there will be the Great Detective Hunt. At 2 p.m., at the AG Hall door, Reverend Kathleen Baker, Reverend Bill Eddy, and Rabbi Karen Breitman will be doing the blessing of the animals. A small animal parade will take place at 2:45 p.m. There will also be face painting, Ask the Trainer opportunities, coloring for children, and hay rides with a Chilmark ox. Tony the Pony will be doing a painting, and Clifford the Big Red Dog will be there as well. Our next nail clinic is Saturday, July 19th, from 10 a.m. until noon. Dogs must be leashed, and cats, rabbits, and guinea pigs must be in carriers. Walk-ins only $20 for the fee. The hot summer weather is here. Please be aware of the temperature when thinking of taking your best friend on an outing with you. Become an AG Society member. The Martha's Vineyard Agricultural Society 2025 memberships will be closing on August 1. Join before then and enjoy free entry to all 4 days of the fair. Members also receive special discounted rates for events and classes and access to the grounds, including the show ring by request. Memberships cost $50 for adults, 13 and up, $25 for youth, 12 and under, and $125 for a family, 2 adults and 2 kids, 12 and under. Premium memberships are $125 for an adult or $250 for a family, and include the benefits of an MVAS membership and come with special Agricultural Society gift. Membership is based on the calendar year and will expire at the end of 2025, regardless of time and purchase. Larkin Stallings to receive Art Buchwald Award. Larkin Stallings has been selected by Martha's Vineyard Community Services as the winner of the 3rd annual Art Buchwald Award for Outstanding Community Service. The award will be presented at the 47th Possible Dreams event on Sunday, July 20th. Created in honor of Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist and longtime Possible Dreams host Art Buchwald, the award celebrates individuals whose generosity, perseverance, and dedication have strengthened the fabric of island life. Mr. Stallings is the owner of the Ritz in Oak Bluffs, and he and his wife Jacqueline have lived on the vineyard since 2014. Mr. Stallings has served on the board on the Martha's Vineyard Community Services for 9 years, concluding his term in 2024. He is also a board member of the Vineyard House, and he currently leads the Oak Bluffs Business Association. His early volunteer work includes a decade of service as counselor at the Harris County Jail in Houston, where he supported individuals facing substance use disorder. This year's Possible Dreams event takes place at the Allen Farm in Chilmark and will once again be hosted by comedian and late-night host Seth Meyers. West Tisbury Building Inspector arraigned on assault charge. Article by Ethan Genter. The West Tisbury Building Inspector was arraigned in Edgartown District Court Thursday on a charge of assault and battery on a person over 60 or disabled. Joseph Tierney had a plea of not guilty entered on his behalf by the court for the charge stemming from an alleged altercation at the West Tisbury Annual Town Meeting this spring. Town resident Leanne Brathwaite claims that Mr. Tierney pushed him over at the town meeting at the West Tisbury School in April, resulting in Mr. Brathwaite receiving medical treatment. Mr. Brathwaite and Mr. Tierney were both attending the town meeting, and Mr. Brathwaite told police that Mr. Tierney tried to get him to stop talking while another speaker was at the microphone, according to a West Tisbury police report. Mr. Brathwaite alleged he leaned in to better hear what Mr. Tierney said when Mr. Tierney pushed him, according to the report. Mr. Tierney was investigated by police, who interviewed several witnesses. 2 stated that they saw the pushing motion. 1 recalled seeing Mr. Brathwaite's feet, 2 feet, solidly on the mat, indicating that he did not trip. 1 witness who did not see the entire incident told police that Mr. Brathwaite, quote, was not acting like someone who was pushed. He was acting more embarrassed as he fell, end quote. In the wake of the alleged incident, the West Tisbury Select Board signed off on a last-chance agreement for Mr. Tierney that stipulated he has to complete a conflict resolution course and forfeit a week's worth of vacation time in order to continue working for the town. Mr. Tierney wrote a letter to the board on June 18th apologizing for his conduct. Please know that I was acting out of frustration and I should not have touched Mr. Brathwaite, Mr. Tierney wrote. It is conduct that is neither expected of someone in my position, nor is it conduct that I am proud of, end quote. Mr. Tierney did not speak during his arraignment, which only lasted a few minutes. District Court Judge Benjamin Bonds told Mr. Tierney that he needed to stay away and have no contact with Mr. Brathwaite as the case moves forward. A pretrial hearing in the case was set for August 21. The only discussion point during the arraignment was if the stay-away order extended to Town Hall, where Mr. Tierney works. Mr. Tierney's attorney, Robert Moriarty, asked that his client be able to remain in Town Hall if Mr. Brathwaite comes to conduct business there. Assistant District Court Eileen Kerwin objected to that, but Judge Bonds allowed Mr. Moriarty's request. Mr. Brathwaite attended Thursday's arraignment, sitting with his attorney. This is Sharon wishing you a good day, and I've been reading from the Martha's Vineyard Gazette.